Hello, my name is Brian Narducci, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, we're going to be doing meatballs. All right, family tradition in the household. I've modified this recipe over the years, and this one I like because it's nice and juicy. Now you can cook them either two ways. You can either cook them in the sauce, if you cook in sauce, or you can put them in the oven. Tonight, I'm going to bake them in the oven. I'm going to start with some ground beef. So this is almost 2 pounds of ground beef. So we're going to have, this recipe I'm going to show you per pound basically, so you can modify it. I'm going to put all the ingredients in the description, so you don't have to write it down while as we go. But I start with 1 egg per pound, and I already put that in here. And I mixed them up, and I scrambled them up a little bit. So I got 2 eggs in here already. I'm going to add this is just about almost 2 pounds of ground beef. All right. And then I'm going to add the pecorino romano. I put cheese in my meatballs, so I'm going to put a quarter cup per pound of meat. So I'm going to put about and then about 3/4 of another one. There you go. And then I'm going to do some breadcrumbs as well. I'm going to do 1/3 of breadcrumbs per pound of meat. So I'm going to throw 1/3 and a little more. There we go. All right, and now we get into some minced garlic. So I have. I don't know. I think it's like 50 grams of garlic here, but it's 2 tablespoons per pound. So it's about 3 and a little bit over 3 tablespoons of minced garlic in here. So we're gonna put that in there, and let's make sure we get it all out of there nice and good. All right, and then the spices. We got a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano per pound. We got a teaspoon of parsley per pound, a teaspoon of salt per pound, and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper per pound. I mix them all together in here. You can use some fresh parsley if you have it, if you have access to it, or fresh oregano. Makes it that much better. And if you like more garlic, add more garlic. If you like, I'd stay with the cheese and the breadcrumbs, but it's up to you. This is a good recipe as is. But if you find you want to add other stuff in here, feel free to do that. So I got everything in there. Oh, and I forgot to put the milk. I got a 1/4 cup of milk too per pound. So this is a 1/2 cup of milk here. That with the breadcrumb soaks up, and that's what makes it nice and juicy. All right, so there's going to be a nice amount of liquid. I put it in a bowl. This is a great recipe. It's a bowl and a pan. You know what I mean? So it's a good one. Now with your hands, get in here. I got gloves on, but you can, if you don't have gloves, you can do it. Wash your hands first. It'll be cooked. It's good, right? All right, we're gonna mix it up good. You could do this in a mixer if you had a KitchenAid or something, or a mixer, any kind of power mixer like that. You sure can. Put it with the not with the dough hook, but put it with the blade, and the spade or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it, but all right. So I'm just gonna get everything all incorporated. Make sure you go from the bottom up, so you get make sure all the meat, and then I basically squish my hands together like this to make sure I really get all the everything mixed up, all nice and together. So how long did that take? A minute, right? So just make sure it's all good, and then you flip it over and make sure it's looking good, and it does look good. All right, and I like to put parchment paper down because I don't like to do dishes, and but if you don't have parchment paper, you don't have to use it. I just do it because it makes it a little easier to clean up. That's all, and it doesn't affect the bottom. And how big are your meatballs? That's all. That's up to you. All right. I like a medium sized. So that's about it right there. Medium size, a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Not as big as a baseball, so that's, I don't know. I take a big pinch, put it on my hands, and I feel, after making a lot of meatballs in my day in the restaurants and stuff, we used to make them a lot of the time. So you kind of get a feel for it. Once you start rolling, you grab the right amount. And we'll roll this tray up. I probably won't keep you here the whole time. We're going to do a time lapse, I'm sure, on the camera. But we're going to roll them in up. And so these fit like about, I don't know, I got a half sheet pan here. And these in the oven is preheating right now at 400. All right. Once it's done, we're gonna bake them in about 25 to 30 minutes. You watch them. Watch them in there because it all depends. If you're using 80-20, if you're using 88-12, if you're using better ground beef, you get less fat. This is 80-20. I like 80-20. That's what I'm using tonight. It's 80-20. And I don't know, I would say you get about, so if you look at this right now, I probably got about 8 meatballs there. And that's about a pound. So, some people like to make them small. If you have a lot of people, I guess you make them small. In some of the places I've worked, they make them small because they put like 4 on a hero, so they don't cut them up. My brother's places and stuff, we always made them a little bigger, and use 2 on a sandwich on a regular little little hero roll, and it wasn't a giant foot long hero roll, I used to use 2 and then used to cut them in half. There we go. There you go. So this is almost 2 pounds, and gave me 4, 8, 12, 14 meatballs. All right. And I'm gonna take off the gloves and put it in the oven. I'll see you in a little bit. There we go. Fresh out of the oven. 30 minutes. Beautiful looking meatballs, aren't they? Usually tilt this up here on my stove. Let the greases get down here. Let the greases run down to the bottom without burning myself. And then I can put these. I put a few of these usually in my sauce. Once they're done, this is what I'm going to eat tonight, right? So I'm going to put a few in the sauce. This is just a marinade. There's another video showing how I make this marinara sauce, quick sauce. So I'm eating tonight, so I'm just going to throw a couple in here, get some flavor. Now, your meatballs can be different than mine as far as your qualities of meat or what you're using. I use 100% ground beef. You can use, some people use ground pork, some people use ground veal, those kind of things. So do what you do. But these are beautiful meatballs. You watch me make them. So from my kitchen to yours, ciao.